spending money, no problem with this procedure, have it in our record.
Okay.
Do you want to be removing the minutes also?
Yeah, minutes,
So-
I
so-
have, remove the minutes, I have. Just go through this, what numbers they are. 1, 2, 3,
5
and
and
6.
7.
4 and 7 will be voted on separately.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at page. Okay, I'll make a motion to accept all of that.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yep.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes. Okay. Resolution R14-228.
I just want to have it in my record, we're spending capital for the event down in United City. I just want to have it in my record that we're spending money and that just do a vote on it.
Would you like to make a motion?
Motion,
Okay. Second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Mr. Carr, seconded by Caroline.
Mr. Carr?
yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
So now with the minutes, what you would do is, really technically, you would move it and second it, and then you would make a motion to amend the minutes. And then you vote on that motion, it's called a secondary motion.
Okay, so when do we know what we want to
Well,
amend?
right now, you just say.
Well, there's no, insert Ms. Kane's letter is not attached to the minutes.
Where's that?
Should be. I think I typed it in verbatim. It was, unless it was,
Page
Carolyn sent
11.
out, amended minutes to everyone last week or monthly.
No, I did not check this.
Amended with these,
Oh, it says, I see. It says insert Ms. Kane's letter.
And I don't see that in these minutes.
Those are the ones that were sent out before they were amended.
Okay, and then the
So
other,
they have been amended?
They have your full.
Okay.
Inserted in there.
Okay, so then really these minutes we're not even voting on because there's an amended set,
well, I have another.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so if that is the case, then fine, that's taken care of. But then, 2 lines down below that, Mr. Carter does not feel that this is a problem. For the recording, I also stated that, and the quote said, he would forward emails to the editor with proper emails of council members. I want that quote.
That was also put in the amended ones.
So why don't we do this, since we don't have the amended ones here, why don't you just table the minutes to the next meeting?
Yeah.
So you have the amended copy.
I'm okay with that. It's just,
And I would like to read it and see it.
yeah.
Okay, what the amendments are. Good, thank you.
Okay, so then let's just
So
table
just
the
vote,
table the
you know,
minutes.
motion to table these to the December.
Yeah, and just, just so that the public knows, then they won't be on the website until at least after the December meeting. Because we have to do it first before they go out there.
Offered by,
Doug, you want to offer?
Yes.
and second by,
I'll second it.
Then it's ready. Yeah, we're not ready. Go ahead, fine.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Next is other resolutions, R-14-227, resolution approving transfer of liquor license.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll make a motion.
Effective date,
I'll second.
it was offered by,
Me.
Becky and
And
Mr. Redmond.
Effective today, November.
Today.
seconded by Mr. Redmond.
Yes.
Mr. Carr? Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Next is resolution R-14-229, resolution appointing housing authority member.
Yes, for the unexpired term for Dan Conrad's seat, I'm going to make a nomination for Ellen Williams. And that'll be the unexpired term that will expire November 30th, 2015, if I have a second.
I'll second.
Offered by Ms. King, seconded by Mr. Redmond. Mr.
The resolution I was drafting though has two.
Yeah, it's the
This is
letter.
You want to do them separately?
Is that okay?
It's listed as one resolution,
Okay.
so,
The other name.
Yeah, and then for the 5-year term to expire November 30th, 2019 is Gloria Miller. She's the current chairwoman of the Housing Authority. And just so everybody knows, Ellen Williams is also a resident. She's put her form in probably over a year ago. She's in the building three or four times a week working with the residents. She helped them with their resident survey. She's a really good asset in the building. Gloria Miller, yes.
Okay, that was offered by Ms. Kane, second by Mr. Redmond. Mr.
Yes.
Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes. And then I think before we go on to the ordinances, we're gonna have resolution 14231.
Yes. The resolution authorizing agreement to TNN contract for removal and disposal at Captain Marina, not to exceed $21,000 in total. Whereas the borough is undertaking the process of providing notice to the owners of Captain Marina to abate a dangerous condition and remove debris from the marina pursuant to borough code and state law. And whereas in the event the owner does not comply with the order to remove and dispose of the debris, the borough may remove the debris, the cost of which shall become a lien on the property. And whereas the borough wishes to enter into an agreement with its engineer and contractor to remove and dispose of the debris, if necessary. Now therefore be it resolved that the governing body authorizes the administrator to negotiate and enter into an agreement with TNN not to exceed $3,000 for removing the debris, and be it further resolved that the administrator shall obtain quotes and is authorized to enter an agreement not to exceed $18,000 to remove and dispose of the debris. And further resolved that the cost of the engineer and contractor shall be part of the liens placed on the property if necessary.
I'd like to make a motion.
Ms. Kate?
And I will second that.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Ordinances on introduction and setting of public hearing date is ordinance, public hearing date December 3rd, is ordinance 0-14-32. Ordinance amending the ordinance, motion to table this.
We're gonna table that, but just a general explanation. We had another meeting with the chief and Kevin Redmond, so the public understands, myself, Steve, I'm just gonna say his last.
Leslie.
We had a great meeting. He informed us the state is rewriting the state noise ordinance. So he made some recommendations that would help us take what we're doing now so we can attach it to liquor license. So he's busy. Our goal is to have it online before the spring, well before the spring, the first of the year. But this is gonna allow us to keep it moving in the right direction. Pretty much sum it up at that. We're waiting for Steve's response back at this point. He did apologize about not getting it now, but he's gonna try to have something for us for December 3rd.
Yeah, so are we going to set the public hearing for it?
No.
No,
We're gonna wait.
we can't.
We're gonna wait, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to
We're gonna
table
wait,
it because
okay.
so his recommendation was to attach so the chief can attach a documentation and history to the liquor license, so those establishments that are violating the noise ordinance and blatantly disregarding it, when it comes to renewal of the liquor license, we have documentation, so we can then subject that establishment to restrictive hours, and so forth and so on. So I think it's a right direction for us to move.
Right. Well, I'll second the motion to table it at this time, so that
Mr.
we're
Carr, did you want
prepared.
that?
Yes. That's how I work it. But that's
Second
my-
by Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
On for introduction and setting of a public hearing date December 3rd is ordinance 0-14-33, and ordinance amending 21-86 of the Borough Code exempting existing bungalow colonies from certain adult and area requirements.
As long as Dale, you're good with how it's presented for public hearing?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, then I'll move it for a public hearing date of December 3rd.
Barth?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Next, under other business, is the website survey report.
Okay, Jen Olson is going to give the report. We have a really wonderful, big, exciting, good-looking report filled with tons of information. And we're not going to give you that entire report tonight because Al Pichard, who is a big part of this with Jen, is out of town. However, Jen has a great report to give. Thank you, Jen. You want to come up here?
No.
No?
No, thank you.
Jack.
I was
Okay.
Jack. I can speak loudly when necessary.
Okay.
First, I'd like to thank, and I'm going to read this because there's a lot of numbers and stuff in here. So I'd like to thank the council for the opportunity to work on the website committee. We originally intended to review all our findings at tonight's meeting, but as Sarah said, Alice called out of town. It seems a crucial part of this committee. We're going to present the full report with recommendations at the next meeting, which is December 3rd. For now, I'd like to give you an overview of the results, starting with some statistics from the survey. Note that not all the respondents answered all the questions, and some questions allow more than one answer, so the results won't necessarily add up to 100, more than 100. So we had 145 total responses. Comparing this with the 18 responses received for the 2010 survey, gives us a little more than 700% growth in our response rate in 4 years. This reflects a growing trend in internet usage in general and a specific need for Highlands and its site in particular. Of the respondents, 119 or 82% were homeowners and 14% were renters. It's important to keep in mind that there are different sets of constituents and needs, all of whom need information. Demographically, older residents, 55% were over 50, and women at 60% tend to be more involved with the website. The devices used to access the internet and the Highland site are increasingly mobile. The site needs to be able to give the optimal user experience based on the device used. In order of top to bottom, laptop was 62%, mobile phone 59%, desktop 54%, tablet 46%, and e-reader 7%. Email and text notifications were a big hit with the respondents, with 83% saying they would like to receive info about various events. Products like Pixel enable these notifications along with web-based updates, including public notices, borough services reminders, weather alerts and notices, and road closures and accidents. When we asked what are people looking for when they visit the website now, we gave them a list of things at this point. 56 said specific content or information, 27 general information, 16% contact information, 7% info about business, and 6% for a link. When we asked them to fill in the blank on that question, we got information like meeting agenda, minutes and calendar, book pickup, leaves, recycling, garbage pickup, recovery, post-Sandy information, communications from borough officials, code enforcement and building information, rec info, events like PlanFest, Oktoberfest information, history, so the Historical Society stuff is great, and contact info. And that included phone, email, address, and hours of operation. Moving a little bit on from that, our final analysis will also consist of some comparisons between our current site and those of some either nearby or similar towns, along with some that might be considered state-of-the-art websites to construct some benchmarks for measurement. These rules of thumb, along with the survey responses, will help guide the committee when putting together an RFP for the borough website. Our heuristic review, which is the technical term for that whole paragraph I just said, but this selected set of websites includes the following 10 overarching categories with between 2 and 7 individual items within each category that contribute to the calculation of the weighted score for each. It's important to remember that not all of these are available on all sites, nor are all necessarily needed on any given site. So communications, notifications, and alert sign up, personalization and customization, branding, tone of voice and visual design, content categories and content findability, navigation, wayfinding, and ease of use, account creation and management, search, multi-channel, town service, and community and social sharing. The sheer number of responses to our survey and the details of those responses, combined with our heuristic review, show that today's world of Web 2.0 both demands and facilitates interaction and collaboration between users and websites. This factors into a number of items in the review above and reflects a sea change in the way that municipalities need to consider their interaction with their residents. Recognizing this, the New Jersey League of Municipalities, which I'm sure you're all familiar, has 4 different forums on this topic at their annual meeting this month. Learning from these 4 sessions would be most beneficial to the town and residents' digital needs. Tara has informed me that she's planning on going to these. I have the list if anybody else is interested in going. And it would be really great if you guys could share these learnings to help us understand the requirements of the site from the municipal point of view, so that we can incorporate these principles into our report recommendations.
Great, thank you, Jen. Let me tell you, there's so much more information coming in the big report. I'm sure some of you have seen portions of it. It's really good, really good. And thank you again, Jen, very much. And Al, in absentia.
Now, are you gonna, forward that to us?
You will all get a copy of it, okay? I just got it myself,
Okay.
and you will all have it tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, I can email it if you want.
Yeah, that's
Me,
okay.
and we'll be able to get it out there. Thank you.
All right, got a fire department vote?
It was on the executive session. I have no clue why it was on a executive session, so my first
Well, I think you
But it's not
requested,
on here.
to be in public portions, but I have no clue why it was put in the
I
executive.
think because Carolyn didn't know the subject. She didn't
I
know
don't
what.
even know what the subject is.
Oh, okay. I
Who
thought
asked
you
it?
were
Who
wrong.
asked me to put it on?
I didn't put it on. My original minutes, when I got the minutes, said fire vote and executive
Right,
session.
yes,
I'm like,
exactly.
so I
saw
called and
that
said,
also.
put in public portion. I didn't request to have it
Oh,
on
I
there.
didn't.
I didn't,
either.
I didn't.
I didn't.
Tim?
The mayor must
Maybe.
have asked to have it put on.
like,
Call him now.
where's rule number 11?
All right.
That's all right. I don't know. That was easy.
Wow.
I think Carolyn had it, up there.
I don't.
Okay, not to worry. All right, public portion.
Can we
Oh,
make some
sorry.
announcements beforehand?
You wanna go ahead?
Yeah, you go ahead, read it, okay?
Okay. Just 2 quick announcements. The Girl Scout Troop, 273, 1142, 1660, and 1900 are going to have a Veterans Day service Tuesday, November 11th at 7:30 p.m. in Betts Park. For more information, you can contact Lori Ann Nolan. I'll leave her numbers out here at 732-614-2960 or loriann732@gmail.com. So I'll just leave this up here if anybody wants the information.
And whoever can come out, that's great. The other announcement is that the Monmouth County Long-Term Recovery Group had a Sandy Fair, resource fair last week, and it was well attended. It was sad that it was well attended because so many people still need help. But we are pushing an initiative. If you know anyone who needs help getting the health care, now that there's going to be an open enrollment from November 15th through February 15th, I have flyers out here, or you can contact me. Help through every step of the process, free of charge. Anyone who needs help with that, you contact me or call the number on the flyer, which is over there. This is a public service announced by Councilwoman Carol Ryan.
Okay, and I think, Chief Blewett, you had something?
Yes, on November 22nd, the police department's going to hold a child safety seat installation at the Highlands Firehouse between 12 and 2. We have 2 officers that are certified, got recertified in that. So anybody with a child safety seat can stop in, we can show them how to put it in, help them put it in. It's the most effective way to obviously help the child, more people relax. So between 10 and 2, November 22nd, will be Firehouse.
Okay, and Tim?
I almost called you mayor. Thanks. I just wanted to make a couple of announcements with regards to facility, like we discussed in executive session as well. The Borough Lawn Community Center requests to FEMA for amended project worksheets have been submitted as of October 24th, and FEMA will probably get back to us within 6 weeks to give us the maximum dollar amount that both of those projects will be eligible for. As a result of that meeting, we also talked about temporary facilities, and FEMA fully understands why we're in the temporary facilities, and they reminded us another community not too far from us is just moving into temporary facilities due to Hurricane Sandy damage. That being said, we've been granted an extension through at least October of 2015 at 90% for our temporary facilities if we need that. So it is the good, bad, and the ugly on that, but the good news is FEMA is supportive of our efforts, and they understand where we're at, and they have granted that extension. Secondly, the Recreation Department did ask me, because December's coming quick, but the tree lighting event that is being held in conjunction with the Business Partnership and other groups is going to be held December 5th, 6 p.m. at Huddy Park. The Recreation Department is involved. There's other organizations. I believe they may have, I think they're trying to have a horse and buggy ride. That hasn't been ironclad set yet, but they're trying to do something like that as well. The Holiday Helpers is an annual program where the Key Club and the Recreation Department provide child care service to residents of Atlantic Highlands and Highlands at Henry Hudson on Saturday, December 6th from 9 to 3. That's an annual event we've done in cooperation with the Key Club for probably 12 to 15 years. It's a free offering, even if parents just need to take a break from the kids and wrap some presents or go shopping. It's an opportunity that does afford them that. Lastly, Breakfast with Santa, which is an annual event, will be taking place on December 13th at Henry Hudson Regional. Again, the Key Club is going to be helping with that as well from 9 to 11. Two last items, we did receive information confirming that we got the grant from Monmouth County for the Highlands Atlantic Highlands Municipal Alliance Program, which we are the lead community, in the amount of $28,525. The county did sign off on those agreements. Monmouth County Park System with the Battery Lewis Restoration Project, the county has assured me that they are going to have the road survey done at their cost, but they certainly want our input and our engineer to do it when that does happen, so we'll keep you posted.
Do we know when that's gonna happen?
They were hoping before Veterans Day, but I don't think they even went out to bid yet, to be honest, because it's a big project, and I know they were hoping to have it in place, but I think their aggressive timeline was aggressive and a good idea. But they'll give us the dates, because apparently when this happens, it almost becomes an event the whole way from the transport down the highway up the hill. There's a lot of turnout for events like that, as witnessed in other communities. So we'll let you know. Lastly, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority did send us a memo that is, as of October 1st, Stronger New Jersey Business Support loans and or grants in the amount of $706,000 were given to 16 businesses in Highlands that applied and were deemed eligible. That information is available on the Economic Development Authority website, but they did want us to, pass along the information to community and the mayor and council that 16 businesses successfully applied. I think they were maxed at maybe 50,000, so I'm not sure who applied for what. Thank you.
All right, public portion, Kim Skorka, 315 Shore Drive.
Of course, habit, I'm just going to repeat exactly what you said. Kim Skorka, 315 Shore Drive. Just curious if you have a time frame as to when Captain's Cove is going to be cleaned up. I know, I'm sure they have a certain amount of time to do the cleaning on their own, and then it moves on, because I'm sure that's going to be everybody's next question.
Yeah, it's at least 10 days by ordinance and by state law. So after that 10 days, we'll probably give them another notice just to be extra prudent, and then sometime, soon after that.
So a month is like a fair time frame, or maybe a little
Yeah,
longer because of the
probably.
holiday?
Probably.
Okay.
I think we anticipate hopefully before the holiday, so they don't have to look at the mess.
I think there's a
For the
general
holiday.
consensus after the 10 days, he gets the notice the next day.
Yeah, we're
I
not
think that
going to
was
wait to
the
send
general
the second
practice.
notice.
Okay. Regarding the noise ordinance, I'm happy to see that it's on here. I would just like to suggest that even if Steve Slicky doesn't have it finalized by December 3rd, in time for it to be on the agenda, just put on what you have, just to get us a step closer, and then when he's got his final tweaks about connecting it to the liquor licenses or whatever's not final, do an amended ordinance, because I would hate for something else to come up. Oh, and then we have to do this, and now it's March and we don't have another amended ordinance. So that's my personal preference. Just get something on there, tweak it later.
I'm pretty confident Steve's gonna have it for us. Like, he gave us that, he tried to get it for here, these work commitments, but
Don't make
he
promises
said
you
he's
can't. Don't make
gonna.
promises you can't keep, Doug.
I'm not promising, but Steve promised, so, but I'm gonna be on him.
Start
till-
John to nag him,
Yeah, I'm gonna be nagging him.
to nag.
Okay. And I just noticed that there were no committee reports, even though Tim did give a brief update, and I saw the chief fluids report is in here. Are we gonna do them, I guess, in December?
We will.
Okay. That's all, thank you.
Okay, Jen Olson, 61 Barber.
Thank you for Captain's Code, it's very much appreciated. Is it just the lot, or does it also include that building?
I can address when you say the building at the end.
Yeah.
That's not under the scope of the issue that we're dealing with. That'll certainly be a next step. He's actually applied for some zoning changes to do something down there, which I don't think have gone any further, but he's aggressively trying to do something down there, which we don't think is gonna pan out, but, no, this particular addresses the lot.
The boat and.
The lot with the, and I told the council too, it doesn't include that, he does have a shed there, we're not gonna disconnect, we're not gonna get into that. And we're gonna be very cautious up close to the bulkhead. We're not gonna give him any reason to say that we caused a failure or disturbance in that bulkhead. So we're gonna work on that. Washington Ave too, on that side, we'll be cleaning up that debris as well.
Barbara Iannucci, 28 Shrewsbury.
Okay, Tim, I have some questions. You mentioned you were working with community center and town hall with discussions with FEMA. They just did their quarter 3 report, a real long one as to the REM and the type of grants they've been issuing with the DCA. And I noticed they have a new set of funding that's going to be available in 2015, but the proposals are expected to be submitted by the end of this quarter, 2014, just for critical public buildings infrastructure. Is what you're talking about connected to that? Because these are just new available funds.
Well, these funds we were made aware of a while ago, and we are applying, I want to say, the project rollout. One of the things that we thought was high on our list and targeted for this particular type of fund was for flood hazard risk reduction. And we're looking at potentially applying for up to $4.6 million.
Okay,
So not to say the other facilities might not fall into there, but we're going to prioritize what we really feel, and I believe that's one of the things that we've been talking about.
Okay, because based on this report, they expect proposals submitted by the end of this fiscal year.
We know, no, we're,
Oh, okay.
I have to say, be honest with you, we've already sent in letters of intent.
We're in
We're-
there, we have
yeah.
proposals in plan,
And
whatever.
correct me if I'm wrong, the deadlines are, I think, towards the middle of December or so.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
we're-
no, there were,
15th or 16th.
Yeah, we're gonna be there.
Okay.
We're pushing to have it done before the 15th, but yes, we've been
okay.
meeting regularly on this.
Okay, and then also in that same report, for the quarter, Highlands was listed along with a lot of local towns, and it had to do with code enforcement zoning. And I know we got approved for $23,282, something like that. All the other towns got 60, so I don't know the difference there. But it had to do with the increased need for staff in building housing.
That was particularly, it's called the zoning, it had to do with zoning only.
Okay, because
So-
every town listed increased staff just in their permit zoning processing department.
This was particularly, we were involved with this, the governing body did authorize that a while ago. The credentials that we were looking for when we advertised the job, no one came forward with the credentials that we were looking at. So we're revisiting that to see if we can lessen the credentials and not impact the grant amount. There's a possibility too that we may be eligible to extend that grant. Right now, that position hasn't been filled.
The Solution Center would qualify, I would think, it added hours, added inspectors. That's
You're-
what all the other towns have listed.
Okay,
Yeah,
we
travel expenses.
applied according to the guidelines. It was called the zoning, there was a zone, particularly zoning grant.
Yes, no, I read it.
And that's what we applied for. And when we put out advertisement for the credentials that we were looking for that position, no one applied.
But Tim, okay, I think you may be able to use it here, because it explained that it was on Highlands to cover salaries, benefits, contract personnel, professional services, travel, telephone equipment. Borough has,
Barbara, I don't want to cut you, we applied for that.
yes, and it's still open, it's just saying Borough has not submitted an invoice for payment. You send in an invoice, you're gonna get it.
Hold on. Let me explain how that works. We applied for the grant.
Right, I understand.
We have to fill the position to spend the money. The money has not been spent because the position is not filled. I can't submit an invoice for reimbursement when the money's not spent. So we are still looking to fill that position. The issue we had was the credentials that we were seeking to fill that position. No one with those credentials applied.
But did you not increase staff hours in the building, zoning office, and the solution center? That might qualify, that's all I'm asking. According to all the other towns, we had, Seabright did $60,000 to fund salaries of 2 part-time employees with zoning and land use applications, permits, utilities. Union Beach did the same thing. They even put in an IT tech to put in new software for the zoning and building office for
And
permits.
Barbara, I can only say, I assure you, we applied with the categories that we were given. We did not fill the position, so that's the key. Once the position is filled
Right.
and we spend the money, then we submit invoice for reimbursement.
Okay.
I don't know,
All right.
I don't know what else I can explain about that.
Hire somebody. It's paid for. Just do it. They need the help in that department. That was all I was asking, because it did say you haven't submitted an invoice like the other towns haven't, so I was just curious what it was all about.
I think I've explained, if I haven't explained it, feel free to talk to me afterwards, but
Okay, well, 23,000 is significant. 60 would have been nicer, but we can use it. That was my one question. You answered it. Okay, I gotta go back to my other page. My other question with this noise ordinance not being addressed. If another incident does happen with loud noise, how's this gonna get handled? Because the last one produced a hell of a lot of drama, and I don't feel like going through that again. Anybody? Chief, how would you handle another
Well,
complaint?
right now, we have a noise ordinance we can't enforce. We did last time, we got down there and we talked and we tried to, talk to them.
Okay,
Other than that, right now, in these circumstances, there's not a lot we can do.
other than let them know they're over the limit. Okay. And then I did have one more question, I apologize. I have to get to another page. Oh, Dale, I know you went to the CRS October 23rd meeting. And I know at the last meeting, Mayor Nolan mentioned getting OEM involved and a possible another part-time hire to help with the CRS. Can you give just a quick recap of how that meeting went?
The meeting itself, it talked about the different, the focus on this one was the different levels of certification, or I'll use that term loosely. Obviously, the higher your rating, the more of a benefit the whole town sees. So it's basically how to achieve the highest ratings in these different categories. All right, it still didn't address getting into the system, which, Highlands wasn't the only one there that was trying to get into. There was still a couple other communities trying to do that. But that meeting was focused entirely on bettering those levels to just to keep moving forward. I think the one town I think is a level 6, and that's the highest in the state. And their insurance reductions were I believe I had it written down but not with me in the 20 to 25% range.
Yeah, I think they cap at 25%.
It was a significant amount. So it's again, we're still pressing, trying to get into the system. I have another name that I'm going to try through the DEP, just trying to get somebody to hear our plight even further, and hopefully I can satisfy that person. And I've been keeping good records on what we've been doing, how we've been moving forward, and best I can do is just plead our case and show them what we've been doing and the turnaround we've made and hope for the best at this point.
Thank you.
Colette, 12 Cedar?
But I can read out 12 Cedar. 2 weeks ago, I was extremely disturbed by the action taken by the Borough Council in regard to the passage of Resolution R-14-220. I decided to take a copy to my attorney and also a copy to a former professor of mine who was at the Woodrow Wilson School in Princeton. I'm waiting a written response from Woodrow Wilson, but my personal attorney did advise that I do not have to put any type of disclaimer. In his opinion, R-14-220 is not what the paper is written on. With that said, I am asking that the council rescind, revoke, or pass another resolution invalidating R-14-220. Council members, also at that meeting, 3 statements occurred that have questioned the credibility of this council, specifically Council President King. First, a statement was made that on a typical day, administration spends 2 to 3 hours a day answering questions about things posted on Facebook. Since Ms. Kane made this statement, and since I am a taxpayer paying for the said administrator's time, I would like to see the phone records that verify her statement. Second, a statement was made by Ms. Kane accusing Councilman Carter of going to the press about R-14-220. I refuted that in a public session, yet Ms. Kane still insisted it was Councilman Carter's fault. A simple fact check with reporter Russ Zimmer at Gannett Press would have given her the facts before she made her public accusation. Third, the owner of Havana's restaurant stated in public portion that Ms. Kane told her Councilman Carter was hiding in the bushes, recording her patrons, and that Mr. Carter called the police about her restaurant music. Immediately, Councilman Redmond corrected the statement by stating he called the police, not Councilman Carter. When questioned on this, Ms. Kane answered, "Well, that was what I was told." Fourth, Ms. Kane has been posting on Facebook without the proper disclaimer she so ardently pushed for. With this said, it appears Ms. Kane has had difficulty checking her facts prior to making accusations that are blatantly incorrect. As council president, she represents all of you. Her credibility has shown to be questionable at times, with a clear misrepresentation of facts that can easily be checked. I am asking the council 2 things. Is this how you want to be represented to the public? 2, please reconsider her position as council president. Last, this is personally directed to Ms. King. As a council member, twice in the past 2 years, you have spoken publicly about me in a slanderous manner. The first time I advised you to check your facts before you spoke about me again. I have advised your family members the same. If it happens again, I will seek legal recourse, and the council needs to know that.
Thank you. Carolyn Bouillon, 12 Miller Street?
Carolyn Bouillon, 12 Miller Street. I was talking to the chief this past weekend, and I asked him a question. Sorry, I was talking to the chief. Carol, you can hear me? I was speaking with the chief last weekend. We were having a little discussion, and I asked him a question I didn't have the answer to, so I wanted to pose it to the council. The police department, as well as, Tim Hill and everyone else, they give reports to the council. Why is it that first aid and the fire department do not also give reports to the council, since they're borough, like they answer to the borough, but we never hear from first aid nor the fire department. So I just want to know why there isn't a formal, at least once a month, as the chief does, or even at the least once a quarter, something, just so that we know how many calls are going on, what's going on, anything. But I've been to a bazillion council meetings, and I've never heard from either first aid nor the fire department. And I just want to know why. Is there a reason why?
I think it just inherently we never had that. Not to say we can't. I know the Highlands Fire Department on their website. If you go to highlandsfiredepartment.com, you will get all the calls for the month.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah,
every month it has the number of
every
calls.
month we update it. We update it with events. That would pretty much be our report. How many, I guess Joe could probably answer how many calls we answered for service, that kind of stuff.
Any training stuff that we do.
What kind of training we do. It's definitely something that can be submitted. It's not.
So then further to that question, I can go onto the borough site and I can look at the budget and I can see how much money is spent on the police department. But there's nowhere that I can go that I can see how much money is spent with first aid squad or the fire department. And there's nowhere that I can find that information that I know of. on the borough website, and I just wanna know, is that in the public domain, and if it is, so, can I see it? Or can everybody see it, not just me?
Yeah, well, I could respond to
Yeah.
the line items. We do have a line item in the budget for first aid, so that is shown on the website, and it does show how much the town appropriates for that. We do also have a line item for the fire department, and that's in the municipal budget document also. Which
Well,
we don't,
Well, I would say, there's a line item, like, there's an other line item, and that doesn't really tell you much, it
yeah,
just
yeah,
says,
yeah. Up in-
first aid, X amount of dollars, fire department, X amount of dollars. It doesn't, as an accountant, you know that it doesn't really tell you much.
Yes.
Follow, because it was brought to my attention, the first aid squad, less than a month ago, was under budget, and then literally, until last week, I was told they're over budget. How does that happen? So I think maybe you're looking for something more of an itemized, like, what are they spending it on?
Right,
What-
not a
you know, like
line item, but
training
an
and
actual,
so forth.
an accounting
Like a
record.
report,
You
like,
would be able to put, you could even pull a purchase order report, I would think. And
Yeah,
then
we
we'll
can do
add
that.
up to your.
To answer the question about their expenditure, they had some unusual events occur. Hot water heater went, some other unanticipated things, and they found themselves in an issue. So we are addressing that with the first aid directly. They are aware of it, and as far as the budgets, we don't have control over what their department budget may be outside the contribution that the borough makes to those organizations. So I don't know if that's the type of information you're
And is
looking
that
for.
because they are an independent organization working for the benefit of the town? Okay. Thank you. I think that answers it.
Can I get a question? Is the fire department a 501(c)? Because chief, people don't know what's going on around it. What are they declared as? Because I know the first aid squad is a 504, which is a problem within itself.
And we may have that status, but we're part of the fire department, part of the department, we're not incorporated like the first aid.
So with
No,
that,
we're a 501(c).
Yeah,
but you're saying, I want clarity on this. Are we part of the borough? The fire department's part of the borough?
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So then it's part of the borough,
It's
should
legally murky.
But we don't have their,
Volunteer
we don't.
Well,
There's
shouldn't
a
those
statute.
I think that's
financials
what
be
you were looking
made
for.
public if they're part of the borough?
if they're part of it,
Technically, they're not.
okay,
But there's a statute that governs the relationship between the two entities. It's two separate entities. It's a volunteer fire department.
okay.
So you have somewhat control over it, but not total control as if they were employees.
Correct.
Or an actual department of the borough, like your finance department, police department, etc.
All right, so our assets, like, for example, the first aid squad, we just gave them $500,000 worth of new ambulances. They're the ones sitting underneath the tent that's not even snow load, structural loaded, rated. So we as a council have to protect our interests there. We put some money out there, and we have obligation to the community. So I'm just wanting to get clarity where our boundary is.
Well, that's your property. You bought the ambulances.
All the ambulances, fire truck, building, all the assets, from my understanding, belong to the town. So we have a right to know
Yeah.
greater reports.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
I would agree with that. I think we should formulate a report on a monthly basis.
Thank you.
Okay, Carol Bucko, 230 Shore Drive.
It was interesting she brought up the fire department, because I've been asking for years, who is watching the fire department? Their extra points they get for their pension and stuff like that. And supposedly the council is, but the public never does see a report on that. What is it called? I forgot.
Thank you, service awards.
LoSAP.
LoSAP.
LoSAP, yeah.
Thank you for service awards.
And that's never, the public has never had any access to that. So we don't know if they're really doing it. You know, if they did a monthly report like of the training sessions and stuff like that, you would know that those people are really doing them. They would have to sign in and it would have to be approved ahead of time. So that was a very
There are
interesting
resolutions
thing.
that come, there are resolutions that come from time to time.
Yeah, I know they do, but we never
Yeah, but there's
find
no-
out
there's no audit.
how those points are acquired. And some of them are very large number of points. You know, they practically live in the fire department. So, you know, and they may be legitimate. I'm not saying they're illegitimate. I'm just saying the public never has access to those.
We should.
And that's been my point for many years. You know, but eventually I do die out, so.
Don't say that.
The other thing is, I totally amazed. I'm 10 minutes late to a meeting and you're finished.
That's
Totally amazed.
That's a tough one.
If I come on time, my back
You're
is
stuck
killing me by
outside.
the time I get in. So I think we have to blame it on Frank.
We were done at 7:40 in executive.
Oh, good grief. Somebody should call me then.
Okay, Karen.
That's
I just don't expect you never to be finished.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Chris Francie, 36, are you done, Carol?
Yeah.
Okay. Chris Francie, 36 Fifth Street.
Thank you, Becky. Following up Tim's report on the FEMA connection to the building, am I understanding that we have no plans yet for what to do for town hall pending information about the amount of money FEMA will subsidize us?
I'm not sure I understand you, but are
Are we
you
putting-
understanding
are we
that there's no
We have-
plan?
Are we putting town hall back into 171 Bay?
That
or-
hasn't been decided as of yet by the council table, no.
When, to some degree, I don't understand not having the plan. I understand not having the funding, I understand not knowing where the funds are coming from. But the council consensus, we wanna do 171 Bay, we wanna put it at North Street, we wanna take all the properties along, Miller that abut 171 Bay and do something there. Seems to me those plans are something that the council should have in hand.
Chris, I agree
You're
with you.
directing your question to me, I'll
Well, you-
answer,
you're the
I'll
only-
answer to tell
Let me
you that
say,
we
let me
don't.
say, I'm addressing you, to you, Tim, because you're the one that has to get it done. Council has to give you
I take
direction.
that, I take credit. As you recall, the one meeting we had about a year and a half ago in the middle of July, when it was publicly stated that we may move away from 171 Bay, there was a public outcry against that, and you were at that table.
I don't
So
think there was a public outcry.
Going forward, the council's not made a final decision, and the options are there. But no, is there a firm plan right now, Chris? The answer is no.
Tim, everybody understands that there are options to do everything. It is the lack of a plan moving forward. The council should have, in my mind, the council should be moving in the direction. There should be a consensus. I mean, there should be an architect creating plans. There needs to be a scope of work starting to get created so that you can do the job. We're gonna be another 60 days waiting for FEMA, and then we're gonna decide what. I'm not sure, you know,
Come up here.
it's a little frustrating.
Chris, it's ironic, just yesterday, Becky and I had an at-length conversation about this, getting some more feedback from the community on where we want to be. I've had conversations with Tim exactly on the same premise. What happens if they turn over $10 million to us tomorrow? We're not ready. So again, that conversation has not gone to the wayside. It has been discussed amongst myself and Becky, Tara Ryan. Unfortunately, Kevin, I have not gotten his ear yet. But Tim and I have had this conversation about we need to be prepared for square footage with the police department and so forth and so on. So yes, you're right. We do need to be more proactive on it, and we're setting the stage to do that.
And
Chris, also, I want to reiterate what Douglas said. We have been discussing it. Maybe we have been lax in not coming up with the final plan and presenting it to the public, but that is the plan. And to have public input. Please don't think we're just hanging around doing nothing. We are
I'm
certainly.
not being critical at this point, except that we're sitting here with 2 years and 4
No, I
days
agree.
past the storm,
I
and
totally
we
agree.
don't have a plan.
Right.
I don't even think I could understand what could be a potential consensus from the council.
Right? And guess what?
I can lay out basic options: return, retreat from that facility, or relocate.
Tim, but we understand those.
Okay,
options.
then those are, and that's what's gonna come
What does the
out.
council want to do? And at this point,
I agree.
you know, the most damning statement you said was a year and a half, we had this conversation, and you think there's a public outcry. I'm not so sure I understand that there was a public outcry against not going against, you know, not going back to Bay Avenue, but I'm not sure, Tim. I wish I understood what you were
I'll get the
working
record
at.
for you to show you exactly what was said, because you were present at the meeting, and there was some discouragement there, but that's okay, we're past that. We're gonna move forward, and the council will make a decision as to, like I said, retreat, relocate, or build new. And then the town will certainly have input, and I'm sure there'll be public hearings on that process, on the decisions that they're gonna make.
Council has to understand what the plan is, and then here's the cost for that plan, and then they could make a judgment about it.
Well, I think the biggest thing we need is the cost. What are we getting back to decide if we're gonna rehab? I mean, I know what I personally would wanna do.
Which is what?
I would like to relocate.
Okay.
And, you know, we're building a building for the next,
I think Frank has said he'd like to relocate.
you know, but I also
Place
have,
up on the hill.
I'm sorry?
We have a perfect place up on the hill, we have a school for rent. No, it's not.
okay, hold on, guys. All right, Chris.
But at this
Which
point,
lady finish it up?
excuse me, you would like to relocate, Carol would like to relocate,
Yes.
Frank has said he'd like to relocate, Doug, I'm not sure.
Right now, it doesn't matter where we go, we have no plan, and so we need square, like exactly what you're saying, we gotta start with the database, square footage. Whether, and we can do a set of blueprints, a square box is a square box, whether we put it in a pre-existing where town hall is now, or where the DPW yard is, or down in Huddy Park. To me, that's a secondary issue. The real issue is, let's get a building cost, how many square foot per square foot. Right now, we have no clue.
Okay, when you.
So we need to have a clue on that, and that's what we're working on.
Okay.
So we can go back to the community and say, okay, we have a cost to a building that's gonna cost arbitrary number, don't hold me to this, $2 million. Where do we wanna put her? Do we wanna put her in a DPW yard, reallocate that space? Do we wanna take pre-existing town hall, bulldoze it under, do that? We can't even do that. We don't wanna come back to the community with a blank shell. We have nothing. We have to put that data together.
It seems to me you could create your needs, that is how many square feet you have. There are plans floating around from Mr. Mullen, all right, that talked about taking all of the existing structure, including the old firehouse garages, and making that into a town hall area. So at this point, that's I don't know, 27,000 square feet.
Unfortunately, you're wrong, Chris, because FEMA mandates 500-year floodplain. That building is, it's time to renovate it.
You didn't hear me. I said you have plans that show how many square feet you think you need.
Okay.
And this was, I'm gonna say, 4 years ago,
Yeah.
give or take. So how many square feet? Doesn't say what the elevation is.
Okay.
But I know I'm beating a dead horse, but and I'm sorry about that, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating, and, you know, I would love to hear an update every month, from my point of view, because it's the most important thing facing the town. It's our identity. It is our existence, really. If we don't have a town hall, we don't have anything to hang our hat on.
Okay, good.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Second. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.